and she was here a lot. Every time she was here, people would come in to see my show, and they would tape it, and it got so bad. At one point, Pia Zadora, who owned our hotel, was opening for Joan, and it was amazing because she had a 40-piece orchestra. I'm sure she didn't make enough money to open that show to pay for 2 pieces, but she had 40 pieces, and that helps when your husband's a billionaire and wants to make you a star. So my good friend's opening, 40 pieces, doing wonderful, using Sinatra's people, and Joan Rivers is the headliner. So I'd walk in with Mr. Rickless, who wanted this lawsuit to happen, which I didn't know till later, because he wanted the publicity. We'd be backstage and he would just taunt Joan. Joan, you know Frank, right? Meanwhile, we were in arbitration all day long, right? And I'm like, oh my God, you know, I was so embarrassed. And I was really trying to change the act, okay? Because I know how mad Joan was. I didn't want her to be mad, I wasn't doing, but I didn't have an act. If I wasn't impersonating her act, I didn't know what to do. Well, as things would happen, Johnny Carson and Joan Rivers got in that big fight when she decided to leave The Tonight Show as permanent guest host and do her own late night show, which looking back, I don't blame her. She was getting 8 times the pay she was gonna get for The Tonight Show. And there was a list out who would replace Johnny when he left, and she wasn't even on it. Meanwhile, she was the permanent guest host at this point. When he was gone, she was it, there was nobody else. So I could see how she was insulted. Fox was a brand new station opening up. They wanted Joan Rivers, and the first person Joan called was Johnny, but of course the media got to Johnny before Joan did, and because of that, that was the last time Johnny ever spoke to Joan, and they were great friends. And America loved Johnny and sort of shunned Joan. And Joan's in the middle of this argument with me that she decides to sue me. So in 1986, I got sued for $5 million from Joan Rivers, and I remember the National Enquirer calling me up and saying, "Hey Frank, you're a star." And I go, "What do you mean?" They go, "You have the full cover of the National Enquirer," and I brought it because I save it to this day, it's on my desk. Frank Marino is getting threatened to be sued by Joan Rivers. First time ever in history an impersonator was sued, and it gives me national press. So I had my 15 minutes. That catapults the show. We started selling out every show, and like I told you, we're doing 7 shows a week, three nights, so that's 21 shows selling out, right? And the president of the Enquirer called me and says, "You're a star." And I'm like, "Who is this," right? He's like, "You're the full cover of the National Enquirer." And it snowballed from there. Okay, so I knew how to manipulate, but I didn't realize it always had to be the media. And the next thing you know, and this is how naive I was, I get a phone call from Larry King Studios. And they're like, "We'd like you to fly in and do our show and talk about the Joan Rivers lawsuit." And that would be like today Oprah Winfrey calling you, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, "Oh, I'd love to, but I can't because my mother's coming to visit." This producer girl probably cracked, like, nobody's ever said no before. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get it. And I said, "Oh, I'd love to, but my mom's coming in and I really can't get away when she's here, blah, 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 blah." I remember Lou Pacioca calling me going, "Are you crazy?"